Hey, hey, hey! Today we are making fry bread tacos. They go by many different names, but today we are gonna stick with fry bread. I posted a picture of them on Facebook a couple of months ago, and all sorts of controversy went down on what they should be called. So we are just gonna call them delicious. Let's make them. So, to make the dough for the fry bread, I am using self-rising flour. I like to use self-rising flour because it already has the leavener in it, has baking powder and salt. So you don't have to add those two things and it just makes it super quick and easy. So the dough has two ingredients, the water and the flour. Super easy, right? So we're just gonna stir that together. It's gonna form a somewhat shaggy dough. You don't want to overmix it because you don't want it to toughen up. You want it to be nice and tender for you. You want this to not be so sticky that you can't handle it. Right now it is pretty sticky. So I'm going to add, put that down, a little bit more flour. I'm gonna get in there with my hands because that's the best way to do it. Now that I got all the rest of that flour in there, it is looking pretty good. So I am actually going, now that I've got this mixed up, 2-ingredient dough. Can you believe that? Okay, so it's all mixed up. I am going to set this aside and we are gonna make the meat for the tacos before we actually get frying the fry bread. All right, so for our taco meat, I have a hot pan here and I'm just going to add a pound of ground beef. Get that out of there. Now, when you're cooking with ground beef, I hope you guys can hear me over all this sizzling. There are some things you want to think about with what kind of beef you choose. I am using a 90-10, which is 90% meat, 10% fat. That's the ratio that they use when they grind it. So since I'm going to be using, or adding, liquid to this, and I'm going to be adding moisture, I don't really need a high fat content. So a leaner ground beef works great for this. But if you're if you're making a burger, you're going to want more fat in that to make it nice and juicy because you're not going to be adding any liquid or moisture to that. So just something to think about when you're choosing meat for your different kinds of recipes. And this is my recipe for when I'm not feeling totally lazy and don't just totally reach for the bottle of taco seasoning. I admit it, I do it all the stinking time. Usually when we're making tacos, I am in a total time crunch and I just go for the taco seasoning. But this is so much better. It has so much better flavor. And it's just something a little bit different, which I like. I'm gonna turn this up a little bit. So now that the beef is totally cooked through, I'm gonna come in with my little hack to drain it. I hate dishes, so I don't like dirtying the strainer. So I just use paper towels. I fold them up, I throw them in the pan, and it's so much easier than dumping it out onto a plate lined with paper towels. Probably a little unorthodox, and I'm sure I'm going to get some hate mail for it, but it is what it is. It's what I like. I'm just gonna pull that out, throw that aside. Now we get to add all the flavor. This is green enchilada sauce. This is going to add that zip and that tang that we want. And then here we have our spices. We have ground cumin, we have chili powder and paprika. Throw that in. And this is just some minced dried garlic, not garlic, onion. We're just gonna do a little bit of salt. Give that a stir. And that is really it. We're gonna let this simmer away for a little while until that sauce thickens up nicely, the meat gets super tender, and it will be good to go. I said it was a little bit harder than using taco seasoning, but it isn't. It actually is just about as easy. It takes maybe 1 or 2 more steps. Totally worth the effort, you guys. Okay, we're gonna let that simmer and get started on our dough for our tacos. Okay, let's pull this back up here. This has been resting for a little bit. When you're making dough or making bread, you wanna let the dough rest for a little bit, because as you're mixing flour and water, it's developing gluten. And gluten is what holds your bread together. It's that protein structure. And as you're mixing it, it makes all those proteins tighten up. But if you let it rest, it relaxes them so that you can work with it more easily. Have you ever been making bread and you pull off a piece and you roll it out and then it shrinks back up? It's because all those proteins are retracting and wanting to tighten back up. So we've got this. So we are just going to, I'm gonna flour my hands a little bit. And for the tacos, I'm just gonna pull off pieces to make bread, fry bread with. Probably like golf ball size-ish, maybe a little bit bigger. Just gonna pull those off, and with floured hands, just kind of work them into a disc. And if you find that it's hard to pull out into a disc, just let it rest some more. You can make some of your discs, and then if you let it rest, then you'll be able to stretch it out even more after it rests for a little bit. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit more flour and just sprinkle it over the top of our fry bread here so it doesn't stick to my hands as I pick it up. Rub it in a little bit. And we're gonna check our temperature and our oil. For deep frying these, we want the temperature to be between 350 and 400 degrees. Right now, it's at about 375-ish, and as long as it's in between there, will be good. But if you do not have a thermometer, that's okay. The best way to check it is by doing a little test run. I'm gonna take this out because it doesn't wanna stay up in there. And I'm just gonna pinch off a little piece of dough. And just put that in there. See that reaction we get? All that bubbling and sizzling? That's what we want. When you put anything into the deep fryer, whether it's bread or chicken strips, whatever it is, you want that kind of bubbly reaction. If you don't get that, then it's not hot enough. So you need to raise the oil temperature and make sure that it is hot enough, because if it isn't hot enough, it's gonna just absorb the oil, and you're gonna end up with a super oily, greasy thing, whatever you're frying. So here, this is obviously hot enough, so I don't need to cook this all the way through. So I'm just gonna put that to the side, and we are ready. Okay, so I'm gonna get my first one and flatten it out a little bit more if I want to. And when you're lowering into the oil, you want to lower it away from you, so you don't end up with oil splashing on you. So I'm gonna lower it in and put it in away from me. So you see that? It's bubbling, it's coming up to the surface. Perfect. And you can put a couple in there at a time. And we're gonna fry them until they are golden brown on one side, and then flip them over and fry them on the other side. All right, so we have the first side is golden brown. We're gonna flip those over. Now, one thing to think about when you are deep frying about temperature, is that as you put more bread in there, it's gonna bring that temperature down. So you might have to keep checking it. And if you feel like the cooking is slowing down at all, up it a little bit, because you wanna make sure that that temperature or that oil is hot enough that it's gonna cook it quickly and evenly. And it's okay if the middles, you see this one, it's a little bit pale in the middle just because it puffed up. It doesn't matter. It'll be good. Okay, so I think these are gonna be ready to come out. Aren't these gorgeous? So yummy. And as soon as they come out of the oil, I like to hit them with a little bit of salt, just to up the seasoning a little bit. Get the rest of these frying. I have the meat cooking in the back stove top there, still simmering away, and it smells so stinking good. So I'm going to get this finished up, get that meat off the stove, and we're gonna come back and assemble these bad boys. With the fry bread all done, we have our meat here, which is nice and saucy and delicious. We are going to assemble, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait. This smells so good. So I'm gonna take a piece of fry bread. I'm gonna take a big scoop of that meat, put it right on top. I'm making a mess while I'm at it. Best way to cook, right? You can add anything to these. You can add beans, you can add salsa, whatever you want. I like to put my cheese on top of the hot meat. And I'm gonna add some lettuce. We've got some tomatoes. Tomato, tomato. And then I love a little bit of sour cream. Some guacamole. And you guys, this looks so good, right? And if you've never had a fry bread taco, you guys are in for it. Is this even orthodox for me to be eating this with a fork and a knife? I feel like I need to probably just pick this up. Am I right? Okay. No, what do I do? I'm just gonna take a bite. So good. The fry bread is soft and crunchy and salty, and then with the saucy meat, the fresh guacamole, and so good. So I hope you guys give this a try. You saw how easy that fry bread was to make. You don't need to be scared of deep frying at all. Super easy. And you guys can have this. So amazing. The recipe is going to be posted down in the comments. And the full recipe, you can also visit my blog. I blog at heatherlikesfood.com. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. I'm gonna eat more of this. See ya.
Nice.
And that's how we do it here.